joining me again for another tingle time. Taking time out to relax, unwind, help to relieve stress, or maybe just help you to get some much needed sleep. In this tingle time together, I wanted to show you a book that I picked up that you might find helpful. And if you're somebody that suffers with stomach problems, bloating or IBS, celiac or Crohn's disease, you may be aware of low FODMAPs and what they mean and how they can help with your digestive system and relieve symptoms. There's quite a few books available. Some of them are short and brief about what foods to avoid. I'll see if I can pull it up on my phone for a brief outline, and I'll just read a few bits from this just to give you an idea. But as I say, there are other ones that include recipes or notes or guidance available. This one is a selection of healthy recipes to help beat IBS. And what it says here is, being diagnosed with IBS or other digestive disorders shouldn't mean that you miss out on good food. Based on the revolutionary low FODMAP diet, the simple recipes in this book will show you how to avoid symptoms and still enjoy great tasting meals. This one's written by Dr. Sue Shepherd. And it's scientifically proven to relieve symptoms. Quite a lot of it is recipes, breakfast and brunch, starters and light meals, dips, sauces, soups and salads, mains, selection of pastas and pizzas, but each have been redesigned to stop triggering the symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. And there's pork and beef and lamb, and a good selection of desserts, biscuits, bars and sweet bites, ice creams, puddings, tarts and cakes. So if you enjoy cooking, there's a vast selection and a few simpler recipes. As if I'm honest, I'm not particularly fond of measuring out and doing cooking. I like simpler solutions myself, but anything that helps with your digestive system I always find useful to know. And then there's a brief introduction. So there's a 4-word introduction piece by Dr. Sue Shepherd, and it finishes by saying that every recipe is low FODMAP, which I'll just read through in a moment for you to explain what FODMAP is. So every recipe is low FODMAP and gluten-free, with options and substitutions for those following vegetarian or vegan, low carb or low fat and dairy-free diets. So plenty of options for everyone. While we flip through together this week, I have one of my favourite mugs of tea. This one is this one's actually called a slimmer tea one, mainly because it has a combination of green tea and mint, and again natural elements to help with your metabolism, digestive system, and to relax you. So cheers. Okay, let's start with what FODMAP actually stands for. And at a quick glance it looks complicated because I think it's just with the length of the words, but I suppose if we digest it down it may become clearer. So FODMAP is fermentable. Not sure if I can pronounce the next one. Oligosaccharides. If I've pronounced that incorrectly, I apologise. I'll show you the page in a moment so that you can see any spellings. Disaccharides. So we have FOD. The M stands for monosaccharides. And then polyols and polyols, so FODMAP, FODMAP. But what does that actually all mean to us? Okay, well, there's certain foods that don't work in conjunction with what our body needs it to be doing. So let's start with the first one, fermentable. These are poorly absorbed sugars, are fermented by bacteria in the large intestine or the bowel. The oligosaccharides means few, and saccharide again means sugar. So these are individual sugars joined together to make a chain. So, okay, a few saccharides, individual sugars joined together to make a chain. The two main oligosaccharides are in FODMAPs are fructans, made up of fructose sugars joined together to make a chain, and galacto-oligosaccharides. These are made up of lactose sugars joined together with a fructose and a glucose at the very end. Disaccharides, di means two. So these are two individual sugars joined together to make a double sugar. The important FODMAP disaccharide is lactose, made up of an individual glucose sugar joined to an individual galactose sugar. So we have poorly absorbed, we have few that are joined together, and we have the two. Monosaccharide means one, and these are the individual sugars. The important FODMAP monosaccharide is excess fructose. Not all fructose needs to be avoided. Only foods that contain more fructose than glucose or excess fructose foods need to be avoided on the low FODMAP diet. If a food contains more glucose than fructose, or if glucose and fructose are present equal and balanced, then it is suitable on the low FODMAP diet. If a food, for example a piece of fruit, contains more glucose than fructose, or equal amounts of fructose and glucose, it is suitable to eat. However, only one piece of suitable fruit should be consumed at a time. This doesn't mean that you can only have one piece of fruit per day. You can have several, but spread them out so that you only have one per sitting. The AP from the FODMAP and polyols. The polyol is made up of a sugar molecule with an alcohol side chain. Polyols are also known as sugar alcohols, but I promise they won't make you feel intoxicated. The two polyols most commonly occurring in foods are sorbitol and mannitol. It's a test apparently that you can have done, breath testing one, to see whether this is something that you need to look into a bit more. I want to find something that's kind of not more relatable, but more, excuse the pun, digestible. It's a chapter on celiac disease, obviously. The benefits there. Let's have a little look here. Foods known to be high in FODMAPs that should therefore be restricted. Okay, these are the main ones to bear in mind. So obviously depending whether you're vegetarian or vegan or not, or you currently enjoy gluten-free dishes, perhaps if you introduced these, or as I introduced, take these also out of your diet, it may help towards relieving some of the symptoms of bloating and other symptoms of IBS. So these are the ones they suggest you should avoid or certainly be restricted. Okay, the first one is additives, And obviously you find an awful lot of additives, particularly in low-fat foods. They put all these things in to make it still taste nice, but obviously it's all artificial. But anything really that has added sweetener or added fibre. And it's a whole list. So we have fructose, oligosaccharides. That's the food that we mentioned before. Anything with high fructose, and corn syrup. Honey is another one. I know there are different honeys that you can try that are okay for your body to digest. So some of these might seem strange that you think they're healthy, but it's not really about not being healthy. It's about food groups or items that your body finds very difficult to digest. And if I think of it in my mind, it's if I've eaten the wrong food and it stays in your body too long, it's almost poisoning your body, and then your stomach gets angry and swollen and bloated. So inulin, isomalt, mannitol, maltitol, polydextrose, sorbitol. So you can look on the side of foods. Often anything ending in a TOSE, fructose, avoid as a general rule. Okay, next one is cereal and grain foods. Bran from wheat, rye or barley. Bread from wheat, rye or barley. Breakfast cereals, granolas and muesli from wheat, rye or barley. Crackers from wheat or rye. Pasta, including couscous and gnocchi from wheat. And wheat noodles, chow mein, udon, etc. But at the moment, when I have a little flick through, you'll see that there are many alternatives. So although it sounds like you'd be going without, there are substitutes for these to give you a balanced diet. Other things to be restricted on the drinks. We have chamomile and fennel tea. Chicory-based coffee substitutes and juices made from unsuitable fruits from the list below, which is fruits, apples, apricots, Asian pears, blackberries, bosoberries, cherries, figs, mangoes, nectarines, peaches, pears, plums, prunes, watermelon and white peaches. Again, the list seems quite extensive, and through my research with this, I found certainly if I've avoided apples or cherries or watermelon, it has improved my symptoms. I might have in its place blueberries or other melons, not the watermelon, because it's the pips and the fibre in it that causes the problems. Okay, carrying on. So beans of all kinds, legumes, beans, all kinds, including certain forms of soy, such as textured vegetable protein. Also chickpeas and lentils, which when I found out about the FODMAP diet, I was, I wouldn't say mortified that I couldn't eat chickpeas anymore. And I must be honest, I still do occasionally because I enjoy hummus and I do like chickpeas in a variety of dishes. But if you do suffer, it is advisable to restrict the intake. milk and milk products, custard, ice cream, milk, cows, goats, sheep's, including whole, semi-skimmed, skimmed, evaporated and condensed, puddings, soft cheeses and yogurts. Nuts to restrict, cashews and pistachios. Vegetables to restrict, artichokes, they've listed here Globe and Jerusalem, asparagus, cauliflower, garlic and garlic powder in large amounts. Again, I do like a little bit of garlic myself, so I will use it a little bit, but I must try even myself to reduce it, just so I can see the benefits of removing all these items from my diet. Leeks, mange tout, mushrooms, onions, that's red, white, yellow and onion powder, spring onions, although with spring onions it's just really the white part, so the green part of the stem of a spring onion. Apparently still absolutely fine. Shallots, snow peas and sugar snap peas, which is a shame because I like peas. And then they have here on this page foods known to be moderate in FODMAP, so therefore to be eaten in moderation. So these ones restrict and these ones in moderation. And we have here a short list, and we start with some fruits, and these are cherries, logans, lychee, pomegranates and rambutan. I just don't know what that is myself. And on the milk and milk products, cottage cheese, cream, cream cheese, creme fraiche, mascarpone and ricotta. But as you say, it's not restrict, it's moderate, so just have these, a couple of times a week as opposed to continually every single day. The nuts to have in moderation, almond nuts and hazelnuts. I do like to have a few almonds introduced to my diet, particularly if you're having something a little bit sweet. So if I'm having some blueberries or a couple of squares of chocolate, I like to have a couple of almonds as well, because it just helps with how your body reacts to the intake of something sweet. Now the vegetables they suggest to eat in moderation are avocado, beetroot, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, butternut squash, celery, corn, fennel, green peas, Savoy cabbage and sweet potato. And I have to say, I do eat a few of those. I do love an avocado because I do believe it is one of the wonder fruits for healthy fats and just good for your hair and your skin and your nails. I used to love beetroot, but I did take that out of my diet, and broccoli and Brussels sprouts. I do like a bit of celery, and if I was having some potato, I'd probably have sweet potato over the white one, although I don't tend to eat much, so moderating it is probably fine for me. This chapter here goes on about the substitutions, which is obviously very important because you don't want your life to be miserable, and you don't want to give up anything. Equally though, if you are in pain from suffering from symptoms of IBS or Crohn's disease, or finding relief is a true godsend. So a couple of the substitutions they're just saying here. So a few basic swaps that they recommend. So for meat or seafood, you can try some firm or extra firm tofu or tempeh fish. There's a couple of different options for replacing eggs with mashed banana instead, but probably relates to different recipes, I think. For milk, soy milk made with soybean extract, and unsweetened almond milk, rice milk, coconut milk, which are all generally readily available at the supermarkets. Butter. There's soy vegan versions and nut butters and coconut oils that are useful for baking with. Again, coconut oil is really a super food. And by the looks of it, it's saying, that not to perhaps go 100%, but just introduce a few of these things into your diet to help you and find out what works for you and listen to your body. And you'll soon be able to get an idea of what your body can happily digest and what it really doesn't want to be given. Maybe you get a notepad and jot things down when you eat them, so you can keep a record of what you're eating and how you're feeling. And then after the descriptions, and it goes into far more detail, I haven't read it all, and it's a little bit scientific in places, so it may need a little bit more research, but I have to say, if you do like cooking, there is a fantastic selection of savoury and sweet options. This one I like the look of. Crispy noodle cakes with chilli sauce. Cheese and olive polenta fingers. That comes under the starters and light meals. And a whole vast selection of recipes. It seems to be one of the things to keep in your cupboard is tapioca flour or soy flour and a different extract of gum, which might need saucing a little bit more. But there's a vast range of muffins which are good substitutes for breakfast. I'm a believer of trying to eat as clean as you can, so if you're opening lots of packets and things, might not be the best thing for you, but if you made a fresh batch of muffins, they're great for snacking on or for breakfast or lunch. Obviously if time allows, because I know how busy we all are. And then, as you can see here, dips and sauces, salads, salmon and prawn skewers, stuffed roasted peppers, quiches, this is one that I have actually done, and it is tasty. I said that one. The crustless quiche, 2 teaspoons of olive oil, 2 tomatoes, a tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, 1 large courgette thinly sliced into ribbons, some grated cheddar, grated parmesan, 6 large eggs lightly beaten, 3 tablespoons of basil leaves, salt and freshly ground black pepper. And another one that's quite readily available with things from our cupboard. We've got vegetable stock, or you can go for a gluten-free option or an onion-free option. Long grain white or brown rice, grated parmesan, tinned sweet corn that's drained off, 1 large beaten egg, and some dried breadcrumbs. And it says at the bottom here how to make the breadcrumbs, which you can then store up, and a little bit of oil or maybe some coconut oil to cook with. And those ingredients there can make crispy rice balls with parmesan and sweet corn. It says these light finger food treats are delicious as they are, but can also be flavoured with chopped fresh herbs such as basil, parsley and sage or lemongrass. Just use what you have on hand. I like that sentiment. There's obviously a bit about the author at the back also, and as I say, that vast list of recipes, and there's a food diary if you wanted to use that, and there at the back is all the desserts, chocolate cakes and carrot cakes with cream cheese icing, chocolate tart, lemon cheesecake, cinnamon and chestnut flan, lemon tartlets. I've got mousses and warm puddings and white chocolate mint pots, which would be a nice one for Christmas, Irish cream delights, tiramisus, souffles, coconut rice pudding, truffles, gingerbread men. So certainly recipes for the family, and shortbread fingers. So amongst the light dishes and the curry dishes and stews and gravy and dessert, it is, as I say, a good collection, and it does explain it in more depth than I've actually read out today, but hopefully it'll give you an insight. Or if you haven't heard of the low FODMAP diet, research that, because that certainly may help some of your symptoms if you do struggle with stomach problems or digestive issues. Thank you for joining me here on this next tingle time. If you've missed any other tingle times that we focus on to relieve stress and unwind to and help each other, you can find them on my channel. Please do subscribe if you want to, and like it below if you found this useful, or maybe just simply even relaxing. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you very soon.